We are on. Sandra Martino, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for accepting the invite. I'm very grateful for you to share to share your time today with us. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you for inviting me, Reda. It was a pleasure, and also to speak with Juliana, the kindness to contact me and everything. So thank you, and let's see what we can do with this amazing talk.
Let's do it. Sandra, please, just as a start, introduce yourself. What do you do, and what's your background, so the audience and me can know a little bit about you.
Okay, so my name is Sandra Martinho. At this moment, I'm more as an author and a writer, speaker, storyteller. That's what I do now. Since I published my book, it shifted a little bit of what I was doing before to what I do now. Because before I was a teacher and a psychologist. I was working with children and with their parents, related with sports and how sports could help them overcome their problems at school.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I opened my own business in Portugal with a clinic to psychology and hypnosis. Uh, then life just showed us this possibility of leaving Portugal to explore the world. We were in Morocco. Now we are here in Dubai. And when I came to Dubai, I got sick. It happened. I had cancer, and it was during COVID. So I had a lot of time and recovering, being at home. We have been through COVID, so we know what it is to be at home. It came the possibility of writing a book about the journey, about my beliefs, about the process of healing from cancer. And life shifted after that. So I started working with the book on consciousness. So what I do now is to explain people how they can connect with themselves, what they can do on their daily basis, not just on the air, how we connect with our daily activities in life, with our emotions, with our daily life tasks that make us feel good, so we can go out to the world and enjoy the person that we are. That's
Beautiful.
basically what I do now.
Beautiful. I can see from this brief history of yours that you've been through things which I'm interested in knowing. So, for a starter, you said that you're a teacher who
Yes,
teaches kids how to, let's say,
yes,
overcome the challenges and the physical activities, and you're into psychology as well and hypnosis. So,
yes.
why that field in particular? So, take me into like your childhood. Did you choose that since childhood, or did life choose it for you?
I think it was both. Um, I had my father was a very challenging man, a lot by the books, and he always wanted me to be or a doctor or a lawyer.
I don't know why everyone just wants us to be that. I
Yeah,
have no idea.
I decided to challenge my father, So
Wonderful.
kid stuff. And I said, oh, I like sports, but I was a short lady, a short child, like really short. I was the shortest of all.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, to do sports, this will be challenging, but I love moving around. I love playing games. So I decided to go to the sports area, more into gymnastics and athletics, not to the group sports because that was too hard. And the teaching came naturally because I was always teaching without knowing that I was teaching.
I
I don't know
see.
if this makes sense, but and when I finished the degree from sports, it's called sports science, and I start going into schools. I
Mhm.
was always the youngest on the groups, on the schools, and being the youngest, we have to do what no one wants to do because
Mm.
everyone chooses first, right? So I
True.
always got the hard things, the hardest things. I got the hardest schools, the hardest kids, and I said, okay, let's connect. Let's see what we can do with these difficult children that no one wants to teach them, or that no one
Mm-hmm.
wants to be the first choice. So I started connecting with them, and it started to be easier and easy
Mm-hmm.
for me. For instance, I was giving a class outside, like, I don't know, volleyball, football, basketball, depending on the group I had. And the kids that were not in my group at that moment, they were in another class and they got in trouble there. They were
Mm-hmm.
coming, speak with me. They were just sitting around waiting for me to have 5 or 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
to have time to be with them and help them understanding why they were kicked out of class, why they were having trouble. And from here, psychology started to come. After years of doing this without any degree, any
Mm-hmm.
diploma, I decided to go for a master's in psychology to start helping and guiding them in a more accurate way.
Mm-hmm.
Then parents came because they saw their kids were getting better and they were always speaking about my name. And I was just kind of the sports teacher. So how does a sports teacher does this? So I started involving the parents on how they can be more aware of their kids. We started doing things at school for children and parents. And from there, I moved to therapy. I learned more about how to connect families, how to connect with the kids, how
Mm-hmm.
parents can be more um, proactive leading with their kids.
I see.
So this was the first.
Okay, then let's talk about that. What challenges have you seen that kids are facing? And for example, the society and the parents are affecting. Like, what were they lacking and how did you fix it? Like, why did they feel better after talking to you?
So in that situation, the kids were a lot of time left alone.
Mm,
Not because the parents wanted to leave them alone, but they were from families that were very low on their income.
mm-hmm,
So they had to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs sometimes, and they didn't have the clarity that if a child stays alone for a long period of time, they just have to manage the way they know.
mm-hmm.
And a child with 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, they don't know how to handle themselves.
True.
They just cope with what they have at the moment, and it's other children also alone. And the parents were working 17, 18 hours a day. The
Wow.
kids were alone, exactly. So when the parents go home at the end of the day, tired, exhausted, trying to put some food on the table, and the kids just did a lot of crazy things
Mm-hmm,
just to keep them busy, just to because they don't know better. So
mm-hmm.
the path here was explaining the parents they had to find a middle, like a middle way.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to work, but they must have time to spend with their kids. They cannot leave them alone so long. They have to find a place where they can stay. So the school created some spaces for the kids to stay more time,
Mm-hmm,
so they don't stay alone more time. And the parents slowly, slowly, not all of them, of course, we know life is difficult sometimes. They started to understand they had to connect more with their kids. They had
mm-hmm.
to ask more questions to understand, not judging questions. Not, you did that wrong. Why did you did that? It's
Yes.
connecting, asking about the day, establish a dialogue, not asking why did you do that wrong. Like the finger, parents do this.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So go beyond that, go behind that. Even we know the kid did something that we don't approve, we don't point the finger like fast. We connect. How was your day? What did you
Mm-hmm,
do? What did you struggle? What was the best thing on your day? And with time, some of the parents, they realize that they don't need to point the finger, because if they have a connection, if they have the dialogue, kids will come, their children, boys, girls, they will come and they will say, because now they have the confidence
mm-hmm.
and the grounding of a comfortable relationship with their parents, so they can speak their hearts. and what happened on the day during their days that they are alone.
I see. That's like a very big problem because for kids to grow alone without their parents, like on one side, parents have to, for example, as you said, like bring food to the table and provide in a sense. But on the other hand, like their kids are growing without anyone around them. And that it's like a structural problem in a society where the kids are growing and they lack a lot of emotional intelligence in a sense.
Yes, yes. I think we lost that, the sense of community I hear
Yes.
from my grandparents, and the expression of we need, I don't know how to put it in English, but I'll do my best. We need a group of people to raise one child, you
Very
know?
true. Yeah, we need a village to grow a child.
Exactly. So
Mm,
if we are alone, it's impossible. We
mhm,
came from tribes. One parent, one family is going to work, but we have the elderly, we have the other
mhm,
people in the community who were there to support the children, the
mhm,
granddaughters, the grandsons. The Now we don't see that. Society was broken down. I think the sense of community is really important, and people should get together and talk about this, because if I know I have a structure, a group surrounding me, I
mhm,
know someone during the day will connect with my child. It could be a
mhm,
friend, be someone else in the family that it's available to do that. And then the children, the child, the sisters, brothers, they won't be alone.
mhm.
It would help a lot to have this, bring back this sense of community, to empower each other, to make stronger um, connections and
True.
stronger education foundations. That's the word, stronger foundations.
Mhm. Like, how can we solve this nowadays? I think that we are very overwhelmed by life
Mm.
and by how fast it is. Like, you see that kids are growing and they are missing a lot of fundamentals of what makes them human when it comes to emotions. That's a very big problem, actually. Like the
Yeah.
world that we're living in nowadays is structured in a way where it only serves production. It only serves to keep producing whatever it is. Yeah. So from Portugal,
Yeah.
yeah, tell me, you were saying.
No, no, no. Keep on going. I was
Yeah.
just having some thoughts.
Yeah. So from Portugal, you did that back then. Where next? Where did life take you next after that stage in your life?
So I was saying, then I moved to Dubai. I got
Mm-hmm.
sick, and I always like to write, putting my thoughts. Here you say journaling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Journaling my ideas, because it always helped me to structure the mind and put the thoughts on paper, and then I would just burn it
Mm-hmm.
and throw it away. So a lot of things I wrote in the past, I burned them. And one day, a friend of mine, she's college professor, and she edit a lot of scientific articles, journals, and
Yes.
things. And she said, Sandra, you should stop burning them and write them, and you should put this out,
Mm-hmm.
because the ideas you have in your head, your principles, everything, the way you think, it could help a lot of people. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, it's just my ideas. It's just the way I think. It's just what I am. It doesn't make sense what you're saying. Just try. So I started collecting everything I had, and I was recovering from cancer. It was
Mm-hmm.
COVID. So a lot of time at home, a lot of time on the couch. So I said, let's be productive and do something good.
Mm-hmm.
I started putting everything I had written together, and with her support, uh, she said, Sandra, you have a book. It's almost ready. You have a book here with a lot of great material. And I said, no, yes, let's try. So we tried. I had a book. My husband saw it, and he said, I'm going to find a publisher. And I said, oh my God, This is becoming real. You know? I never intended to write a book, to publish a book, but it happened. And the book, it's about consciousness. It's about how we choose,
How we
how we
choose.
make our choices.
Hmm.
Yes, because sometimes people, and we can go back to the kids, they think they are not choosing. They are just being, oh, leave it. I don't care. But
Hmm.
that's also a choice.
Hmm.
Choosing not to choose or choosing to be not caring or not wanting to deal with the emotions,
Hmm.
everything is a choice. So for the kids and bonding with what I do now, I talk with people about how they can do better choices to connect with
Hmm.
themselves. Because connection, many people only see it as a spiritual thing, but it's
Hmm.
way beyond that. It's also spiritual, it's mental, it's the body, it's everything. Because the way we connect with ourselves, it helps us to make better choices. It
Hmm.
helps us clear our mind and our emotions. Because if we don't make good choices, the emotions, they start to pile. And when the bag is full, we don't know what to do. So it's like a bomb ready to explode. So I
I
decided
see.
to engage in talks, clarifying all of these things depending on the groups I have. I love working with groups. So it's good to have groups of kids, groups of parents, sometimes companies for a group of people, for ladies recovering from cancer, for instance, and understand what's the main problem there, that it's blocking them, that it's increasing the emotion. It's not letting the emotion to flow, and
Hmm.
work with you to release that so they can be more connected.
Then what makes us take choices, in a sense? What do you think that drives our choices? Is it the experiences that we have in life? Or is it like naturally in us somehow? Like, why do some people take a certain choice when it comes to a certain thing, and someone else might take another choice when it comes to the same thing, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's related with one thing we call in therapy that it's the beliefs,
Hmm.
but it's the beliefs that don't allow us to move forward. How can I say? Limiting beliefs.
Mm.
And beliefs are built on our past actions and experiences. I'll give you an example.
Hmm.
This is from a woman's perspective, okay? But it was the one that popped in my mind.
Sure.
Many women, and you will see what I'm where I'm going.
Let's see.
Many women say men are just all the same.
Okay, I see where this is going. All right.
No, you will understand.
Yeah,
So this is a common belief that men are all the same,
true.
right? And if we start with this belief, this will limit our perspective over men, because
Mhm.
not all men are the same. Some of them are like whatever I have in my mind, but
Mhm.
there are a lots of them that are not. So if we have a big belief that all the men are the same, that will be with a rag tag for all the men, and it's not right,
Mm.
the truth. So imagine the kids have a belief that my parents are stupid.
Mhm.
It's also another belief. They don't know anything.
I see.
So the kids start to go into that, and they don't even know it's a belief. So we have to reach the belief that is limiting the child or the group that we are working, and try to change the belief. For instance, we can ask, imagine a lady that comes to therapy and tells me, oh, my husband this, my husband that, and men are all the same. You know what I'm saying? What I
Yeah.
try to do is transform this. And I say, do you know a man that is different from that? Just one man. Then the person starts thinking about it. And 99% of the times the person says, yes, I know one that's different. So let's hold on to that person.
Mm.
We try to break down this limiting belief about a concept to bring the person more to open their perspective on things. So, and when we change the belief, when the person is aware that that belief is limiting their life,
Mhm.
then they can start choosing differently.
Sandra, that's a major part in people's perspectives. What do you think that structures our beliefs? Like, why do you think that many people are programmed to a certain belief? Because as you mentioned, like we have this tendency of immediately having a first idea about something, and it's hard for us to change our perspective about it, and it makes us take a decision upon that belief that we have. So why do you think that we have certain beliefs? Is it the environment? Is it the people around us? What is it?
I think it's more than one thing that piles up to build a belief.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the first thing is, as I believe personally in past lives,
Mm-hmm.
for me, a part of our beliefs come from a construct that we have energetically from past life experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have kind of a kind of a stamp
Mm-hmm.
with that, like a microchip or something that we
Yes.
don't recall. So when we born here, the microchip is there, like undermining the conscience, everything we
I
remember.
see.
Then we engage in our education first years with our parents. They educate us. And usually we try to align with what is comfortable for us.
Mm-hmm.
When it's not comfortable, we are just like scared. So we discard.
Mm.
So we want to make sure that what we have inside our belief is the right one. So we build on to be right about things.
Ah.
So we align our education, we align our choices with our beliefs.
So,
And sometimes we get surprised along the way because we meet people that we consider them good people, but with different beliefs. And then we start colliding.
mhm.
And some people just abandon their way. Some people want to engage and understand why is this colliding happening and try to
Mhm.
understand their beliefs and move from forward from them. So it could be from a past life, it could be educational and environment.
It's somehow like we have these biases that are embedded in us. And
Yeah.
when we see something in the world, we tend to move towards it if it serves our bias. And we start piling up over and over. And when we see something that does not match with us, we tend to stay away from it and keep a distance. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So the book, can you give me like a brief idea about it, please? Like if I'm someone who's going to be reading it, what might I expect? What am I going to gain out of the book after reading it?
So I call the book The Dance of Life
Mhm.
because first, it's how we can choose, metaphorically speaking, how can we choose, how we choose to dance the dance of our lives.
Mhm.
It's a metaphor. And the book is about what I believe and the choices I made. The first, for instance, the first choice I made that
Mhm.
make me start my self-growth process.
I see.
So it's about self-growth, it's about self-love, but with life experiences, what I've been through, what I choose, what I believe. Because I realized that people relate with stories So they see it's possible to do. And the book is, everyone who reads the book,
Mm-hmm.
always they tell me, it looks like you're talking to me directly, like a
Mm,
dialogue.
I see.
So I give a lot of concepts. I give a structure for people who want to engage in their self-growth. How I see it, how I see self-growth,
Mm-hmm.
how we can climb our mountain, what questions we can ask to ourselves, what areas should we work on to promote our self-growth.
So, what should we work on to make a better version of ourselves? For example, like people always say that, hey, I want to develop, I want to take care of myself, such and such. But they usually don't know where to start, and they have this eagerness to do it. However, they don't know what to do with it. So, as Sandra Martino, how did you develop yourself? What did you do to improve yourself? Maybe people can relate to that as well. Can you tell me about it, please?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I faced my biggest fear.
Yeah, tell me. What was your
uh,
biggest fear? Don't tell me
yeah,
writing a book.
yes,
Oh,
it's
really?
on the book also. Yes, it's on the book.
Love it.
And my biggest fear was driving my car
Mhm.
to one place that I don't know what to expect.
Mm.
I give you an idea. I'm in one city
Uh-huh.
and I have to take my car. I love driving, but I have to drive me on the wheel alone for some reason, for work, whatever, to a place that I don't know how that place will be,
Mhm.
what to expect there, practicalities, where to park, busy city, you know, unknown. And this fear was blocking me
Mhm.
to do psychology, one thing that I really love. Every time I had to drive my car, I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And the fear was coming and it was out of control. And I said, stop. Fear will no longer control my life. But I didn't know how I would do that. But I knew I had to stop that fear because there were things that I wanted to do. So from that moment on, every time I had the fear for driving, I would do twice. Like I would do that and more.
Uh-huh.
So I would sweat, I would cry, I would laugh out of nerves, whatever. And I started talking about it. And one day I did one hypnosis session to understand this fear. It led me to that without thinking. Why was the fear there?
Mm.
And summarizing what happened was I was scared to take the lead on my life. And the car and the driving, they were only the how the energy or how the circumstances were expressing themselves.
Oh.
So what happens is we have to internally, because what we say is one thing, but what is internal, it's another thing.
Mhm.
To start a self growth journey, a more consciousness journey, we have to understand what is that feeling, emotion that sometimes we don't speak about it, but it's inside.
Mhm.
That's the one we have to go. Because I can say, oh, I start my self growth because I want to be a better person.
Mhm.
Fine. No, I started because I was scared of driving to do things that I loved. So for me, it
Sandra,
was fear.
this is something crucial that you said. Because fear, sometimes when I think about it, I think it drives our actions. For example, people who are afraid of death always
Mm,
take actions that moves them away from death. People who are afraid of losing a job always take all the actions that makes them stay in a job. And sometimes, like the best experiences in life are on the other side of that fear. What do you think?
I agree with you totally because you just touched the knot, the point that it's one of the things on my, the bucket list.
Yeah?
It's to transform the concept of death, the fear
Mm.
of death. I think that's the ultimate fear and the ultimate thing that as humankind, as humans, we tend to not to look into.
Hmm.
I think we do everything because we are scared of dying.
True.
So we try to, even the people who jump out of an airplane, they say they don't. They are. They just, in my perspective, they are just more willing to face the consequences.
Hmm.
But I think if we understand that the fear of dying, it's not it's not a fear
Hmm.
and it's not dying. Of course, this is a belief again. But if we demystify this death concept and this fear concept, many people will be released of their fears
Hmm.
and they will be without the chains they have put themselves to have a more easier, happier,
True.
sustained life.
To experience life fully, in a sense,
Yeah.
like without chains. I see that. Like, I mean, I hope we can like untangle the chains from people because I've seen like a picture one time where it represents what you just said, where a horse is tied to a chair and he
Mhm.
doesn't move because he thinks that he's tied. Although he's more powerful than the chair and he can just move and break it off. But because like people are usually like attached to an idea, attached to a fear, attached to a situation where they cannot move forward in life and they stop experiencing it. And this is where they start getting depressed, having anxiety, and many problems start arising.
Yeah.
So the journey of writing the book as an author, like what inspires you? How can you find inspiration? Because I think that inspiration is not something that comes easy. Like, was it for you an idea that is already formed in your head and you were able to write it? Or did you have to look for inspiration? What can you tell me?
To write the book, I didn't have to look for inspiration. Uh, I think I'm kind of strong minded.
Hmm.
How can I put this? You know, this world is a very competitive world,
Mm, true.
right? But since I was a child, I don't know if it's because I'm smaller in size and I had to compete more than others in a matter of
With more
speaking.
effort.
Yes, thank you. More effort. I always realize that if we move from a competitive perspective to a more cooperative perspective, it would be so much easier.
Hmm.
So, what inspires me, and I know this is very, it's too big probably to say, or what I would love to see, I just say
Hmm.
it. I doesn't matter if people think I'm crazy. I
Say
would
that's
love,
fine. We all
because
have this creative part in ourselves. It's okay.
it seems that I'm still a child when I say this, but I'm very grounded when I say this. I would love to see a world where we would cooperate more,
Mm.
where we would stop the wars for things that doesn't bring any positive. I would love to
For
see a world
humanity.
of cooperation, where people
Mm-hmm.
enhance themselves and where I can do something for the other without expecting something directly in return.
Mm-hmm.
I can receive something back, but I'm not doing to receive it. I'm doing because I believe that's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, I always say our major energy manifests when we are alone, the way we think, the way we believe, and no one is looking at us. When you are in your room and you just think on your real intentions,
Yes.
no one is there, no one is watching. What is your real intention when you go out to life? What is your level of consciousness when you go out every day? What does goes inside your head that people don't know? That's
Mm-hmm.
your that's where we thrive, or that's where we crash. Because the real motivation, that's what inspires me and that's what drives me to do what I do. And that happens for everyone. Someone can come to me, very, I'm a great person, I do this, I do that, I'm this, I'm that. Okay, fine, I take it. And I don't fight back. But the only thing I ask is fairness for that person, that if that's real, honestly, from the heart, that person will succeed with what they have and with what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So my inspiration comes doing what I feel it's right and needed, not only for me to grow,
Like by
but
reflecting on your true nature, in a
yes,
sense.
yes.
You mentioned that the world is very competitive, and I agree. Do you think that's a good thing to make us better, or could it put us into a worse situation? Because
I think that,
competitiveness can also destroy people.
yeah, I think that's where it will lead, because we lose track of who we are when we start competing. We don't put a break.
Mm.
If we could use competition with ourselves, make me a better human being, and if I win something out of a competition, it's because I gave my best against everyone's bests,
Mm-hmm.
not because I was the best and they were worse than me.
Mm.
Does this make sense?
Yes, 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 yes.
So
I
I
think I
compete.
can relate to it.
I compete with me, with what I feel is the best thing to do, the right thing to do, and in a group where we all do that, okay, one can win, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is do the best that we can and know at that moment.
Speaking of this example, someone who loves training. I've been training ever since I was young. And every once in a while, I compete in sports. And the preparation for the competition usually takes me out of why I started training, what makes me love training. You see, because like
Mhm.
when I go to the competition, in my mind, I have to beat others. But that have to change my training methodology in a sense where sometimes I don't like it and it makes me hate it somehow. So when I
Mhm.
step out of the competition, I go back to why I started training, that's where I feel myself more, that I deliver my idea correctly.
Yeah.
I see.
I also competed when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
teenager, and I felt exactly the same. And I stopped competing. I kept doing sports. I do different types of sports, adapted to age and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
competition, I stopped because of that. Exactly what you say. Probably, if I would continue competing, I would have to change the way
Yes.
I was doing it. Because if we step out of ourselves, of what we believe, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but
Mm-hmm.
we feel the nature in us, and we know why we started,
Mm-hmm.
and we know as human beings what makes us stronger.
True.
Our coaches, they have tools, but not all the tools apply to us. We have to decide on a situation like that, like competition, weightlifting, for instance, or cross trainings, everything
Mm-hmm.
now it's there. We have to know what is our goal. Why did we start this?
Mm-hmm.
We can take some of the tools that the coaches are giving us, but we have to be mindful of telling them, I don't want that tool because it's not aligned with my main purpose.
I see.
And if you want to work together with me, we have to find a middle way to go
Mm-hmm.
so we reach a purpose. And the purpose is to, if you want to compete, okay, but do it in a healthier way. And if you give your best, you be happy with whatever place you have in the competition because you know you gave your best.
Mm.
But if you allow yourself to let your coach tell you, don't do this because you need to gain that, you are advocating your decision on another person.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't reach your goal, you say, even if, no, sorry, not even if I would choose what I had in my heart, would it be better for me?
Yes.
So I prefer to fail
Yeah.
based on my own choice than failing on another person's choice.
I see. That's a very critical point. That's a very critical point, actually, because we can apply this to everything in life.
Yeah.
Like the reason of why we start with something, or the reason of why we do a certain thing. Is it to please, or to compete, or to be like, or to fit in something that is not truly what we want? Or are we doing it because we want it? Because I can see that also in relationships, you know, like where people sometimes get out of their true nature to fit into a certain situation. And via time, you can see that they don't feel themselves. And this is where relationships start breaking off because the person have went out of their nature and they don't feel connected with themselves somehow.
Yeah. For me, again, there's two perspectives on that.
Hmm.
One, it's the I probably I can say strings that is connecting us to past life experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and we bring information, but not all the information. It's like fragmented information,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like something that holds us there on the relationship, and we don't know why.
I see.
We cannot move from the relationship, but we know it's not good for us,
Yes.
right? This has to be it in it, what I've studied. Okay, other therapists I met, many people I've talked. It's if you have like something to settle with that person,
Mm-hmm.
until the moment you don't release that, you will be stuck on that relationship, even if you want to
Mm-hmm.
move on. This is one perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And if the person works on this, the relationship will end by itself.
I see.
The other thing is People sometimes are stubborn. They know they
most of the
have to
time.
leave. They know they have to leave. They know it's not healthy, but some comfort is there. They are gaining something out of that
Mhm.
relationship, even if they don't say. So this is the two questions I would ask to a person who would come to me for a relationship problem.
Mhm.
I would try to understand to see if this is connected to something in the past. There are techniques to do. There are lots of techniques. Who works with this, they know. We know. And the other thing is trying to understand what this person is gaining from that relationship, not what
Mm.
they say, what they don't say. And when we acknowledge these two situations, the person can start working on it and move. If the
Mm.
relation, if that relationship is, or it has enough energy to keep on going, but people just have to deal their own problems, dialogue, communication, changing some habits, the relationship will improve. But if it's not to improve, it will end. So this is the two things I believe.
Like, this is like a very true thing, like stubbornness and the fact that maybe we are getting something out of it, and this is why we keep attached or stay attached. Do you think that because you mentioned that they come to you and when you talk to them, you have these methods of finding out if it's attached to their past and this is why they are not leaving? Like, I believe if I sit with myself and talk to myself, I pretty sure am able to identify it myself. But why is it that I need someone to pull me out of it? You know, like sometimes you need someone to point it out for you that, hey, like you need a validation, you need a verification to that somehow in order for you to move forward somehow. Like from your clinical, let's say, practices, I'm pretty sure that you have noticed that when you talk to people, they have this aha moment. Like, oh yeah, I
Mhm.
know that I do that, but they only move forward when you maybe you as a therapist tell them
Mhm.
and they move forward with it. Why do you think is that?
Bec- from my perspective, when we act the same way for a long period of time, we start, and this is on my book, I talk about the cycles.
Hmm.
So we engage in a cycle. You know, when a dog beats the tail and it stays
Yes.
there. So that's what we
Yes.
do. And we cannot break that cycle because we are there in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes when we go out and reach for a therapist or a teacher that has the answer, it's just a tool that we learn,
Mm-hmm.
and we provide that tool and we say, look, you know this, you told me, this is nothing new, right? So what you can do is, I have this tool
Mm-hmm.
to help you with this. Do you want the tool or not?
Mm-hmm.
And the person says, yes. So that person takes the tool, uses it to break out of that.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the information on how to get out of that situation.
I see.
So someone from outside observes and provides the right tool. It's the same way as when we are a child and we go to school and we see the older kids reading.
Mm-hmm.
They all know how to read. But I don't have the tool as a child to learn alone how to read. It's the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a professor, a teacher who gives me the tool. Then
Mm-hmm.
I learn and I move on. It's the same. But human beings make it complicated because they think if they ask for what it's called help, they will not be good enough. It's not help.
Yes.
It's receiving a tool from one area of our life that we didn't study. I cannot study everything, right?
True.
When I had cancer, I had to go for psychological support. And I'm a psychologist. I had to go because I needed a different approach for everything I knew. I needed someone to point me out what I needed to do to recover from that pain.
Mm.
You know, sometimes we are in the loop and we just need someone to give us the right tool to use on the right moment and click.
Hmm.
That's how I see and that's what I feel about this.
What you mentioned about the fact that people have this tendency of not wanting to show that they are weak or ignorant in something is a big factor as well.
Mhm.
Like, because I see that, like, where, like, it's like you pointed out their ego somehow. However, growth and self-help comes with identifying what we are weak of, what are our weaknesses, and where we lack. And for example, it's as if you're opening a business. You can't expect one person to do everything. Maybe I can do some things, but I need to hire others to do things which I can do. Maybe they can do it better. So we have to approach life in the same manner of opening a business. If I'm weak in a certain aspect, I need someone to assist me in that. I love it.
Yes, it's
Sandra, what's
exactly.
your, yeah, sorry, tell me, you were saying.
No, I'm just saying that I agree totally with what you said.
Yeah. Where are you going later in your life? Do you have anything planned for the future? Or are you just flowing with the flow of life, as they say? Do you have something on your mind?
I have.
Can you share it with us?
I'm going to all my crazy ideas.
All right, here we go. I think we're gonna
Okay.
need another episode for that.
I believe we have to have something to move forward,
Mhm.
but I like to say I'm open on the how to get there. I'm open to what life has to offer to get there, but I know what I would love to accomplish. And if I accomplish that, I know I will find another thing. One thing I would love to do, and I think Dubai it's a good place to do that. Dubai, UAE, not only Dubai, UAE. I don't know if it's possible, if it will happen, but I have that in my mind. Talking about connection, talking about humanity. I would love to get together like with with the heart open, that we could create a moment for the whole world
Mhm.
at the same time, at the same minute, that we could, some group of people together at the same time, at the same minute, like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, I don't know. Same time frame. It's here, it's 5 o'clock, somewhere it will be 2 in the morning, but the
Yes,
same time that we connected for this purpose.
I
All
see.
cities in the world, like major cities, a bond of consciousness, a bond of self kindness, of peace,
Of peace. Yeah.
you know, that everyone would stop at the same time with the intention of peace.
Just to take a breath.
Yeah. If I could put this, you know, 1 minute, I wouldn't ask for more. People around the world could connect for peace and move from there and have that in their heart from that day on, that I think it would make a difference.
that we are just all humans and we are all seeking the same things. We are seeking happiness, peace, being content in our lives, living a life of peace and harmony, as they say. And
Yes.
somehow we have been deviated heavily out of this purpose. But hey, maybe this can be a start.
Yeah, they say, the masters say, that we have to put in words loud
Yes,
for everyone to hear what we want to accomplish. So I will come back to you if one day I have 1 minute of
sure.
work togetherness, because it was with you the first time I expressed this out loud.
You are most welcome. Sandra, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I really learned a lot from you. You're a wonderful
Thank you.
person. I wish you nothing but happiness.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Redo,
Sandra.
for it. It was an amazing talk. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day. I'll see you later. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you later.